Welcome back to the Hypro Supreme Championship here in Geelong. We're at the Geelong Showgrounds. Bit of a crowd's building up now to watch this. This is going to be the best of the best. 10 dogs vying for the Supreme Championship. And first cab off the rank, Will Goggin with his dog Beck. Had a first round score of 94. Followed that up with an 82.5. So currently sitting on 176.5 and in third place. So Will steps to the handler's post. The judges signal he wants some sheep. Out they come. Bell's gone, dog's away. So Beck, white rough-coated dog, a little bit of ginger in the coat. Heads around, picks up her sheep. Challenges all round today. We've seen the test match. Australia, New Zealand. New Zealand pinching the third test by quite a margin. But Australia already had it in the bag, taking home the cup. And then we've seen some fantastic trialling in our top 5 improver runs. John Cantrell with Puma winning the championship. But it all comes down to this. This is what everybody came along to compete for, the Supreme Championship. And already it's getting a little bit touchy. Will Goggin represented Australia in the test match earlier. Did a very, very good job. With a different dog. Trixie, he was working Trixie out there. And she did a great job for Australia. Will's first representative opportunity. Did a great job, and here he is. Also doing very well in the top 10 with Beck. And he's brought them down pretty nicely. So, it's a fast little dog. Swinging left and right, blocking them up. And it's these lighter coloured dogs the sheep seem to allow to get nice and close. You see, blocking that lead. Swung him around the post, no trouble at all, and Will's away. So ideal run, right hand side, in that corridor, 9-metre corridor, and they've broken away already. Just breaking off to the left. And she brought him down, but she brought him down in a fashion where it wasn't as smooth as perhaps it could have been, and she just got him a little bit toey, and they've just cost him a point just breaking off on that side, and they're still running. And she's pretty quick too. This time she gets there, brings them back on course. Little overrun. And we were just building a fence in front of the sheep, flanking her left and right in front of the sheep as they walk, and now they're starting to have a bit of a nibble on the grass. Breakaway again onto his left-hand side. Just having a bit of trouble gripping them. You see, she's quick. She moves so quickly. It's a sudden movement, and some sheep don't like that. And this one's taken her on. Oh, she was good enough. She got to the head. She turned it back, and away they go again. And you see, the one sheep's lagging behind, and there's this little round dumpling sheep that wants to run at the very front. As Will approaches the handler's circle. It's going to lead them somewhere, but whether they're going to follow, it just seems to be a bit of an individual, that sheep. And Beck just negotiating with the one that's just had a split. That big guy just doesn't care at all. He's just following on, but it's the little one at the front. Going to lead them through now. And that's pretty good. But that one there at the back could be just as much trouble because he's not joining the party. He's got a bit of a split and she can't be in two places at once. So she brings the two back to the one. Sets them up. You can ideally try and lift their heads up and get them looking in the right direction if you can. He steps in, and that sheep didn't want to take its mouth off that daisies it was eating, whatever it was eating down there. So away they go. She's a busy dog. She's busy. She's moving all the time. Will takes a couple of steps backwards to see what's going on. Away they go. Out there in his Australian jacket, Cobra hat, looking the part. And he's got him walking pretty nicely now. A little runaway. No, it didn't cost him anything. Beck was on the job, quick as lightning. Very different type of dog to Trixie, the way she moves. A bit more upright. A little bit less eye. She's having a good influence on these sheep so far. So they approach the race. Lining them up now. There's our little dog. She's already thinking about where they got to go. She knows the race is important. And there she goes. Pops them in already. Spins around the front and turns them out again. Oh, that's not what Will wanted. Not too much damage done. They haven't come all the way out. They've just turned in there and back they go. So that's good. 2 obstacles completed. Ready for the bridge. They just tucked in a little bit tight. In on that panel. He's got to get him off there without upsetting him. See what he can do. He might just get the dog to walk in, and he's done that nicely. They've been tucking in on those wings a little bit at times, and the dog's got to squeeze between the panel and the sheep to get them going, and sometimes they'll even go back inside that raceway. So the heads are down, Will's away, heading towards that bridge. He's got these sheep carried nicely on his right hand side. He's got them moving really well now. Beck's just moving left and moving right, just behind them, keeping them in line, making sure they don't break out. They've just stepped off course now to Will's left and had a bit of a split. And there's that same little individual that didn't want to join the party before. He seems hungrier than the others. And they're just off to the left of the course now. And might slip down behind that bridge if he's not careful. And they've come across the front. It's all getting a bit fast and furious at the moment. Probably not as tidy as he would have liked. He hasn't seemed to have got them settled, but they look like they're going to go up on that bridge. One's down their side, and that's the same grazing sheep. He's found a bit of grass that he wants to get hold of, and he couldn't care less about the dog. Oh, a little breakaway. Good cover. Block, hold. Wow, she did that very well. Lightning fast. And they're away. Well, that little bump's got them upset, and away they're going. They're going at a rate of knots. Oh, and she's overrun as well. Almost turned herself inside out to get to those sheep. She spun on the spot. And she brings them back on course. Not quite there yet. And they're tricky because they just keep putting their heads down. They don't want to play the game. But when their heads are up, they're up and running. So challenges from all ends. So Will's got him off course a little bit there. Beck just bumps him one more time. Heading to the pen. 20 points on the pen, very important if you want to be competitive. You get that gate shut, and Will knows that. Had to do it in the test team. And he's done it twice already, leading up to this top 10. Just drawing those sheep along. Setting them up in front of that pen. Little run. Beck's there to cover. They look good. They're setting up. Well positioned. Oh, come around the side. That's unfortunate. 2, 3. Duck behind the gate. They just squeezed as Will stepped into the handler's circle, and they felt the pressure, and they just made a little run for it. And they've broken away a little way out in front now as well. So Beck's just trying to manoeuvre them back in front of that pen. There they go, looking better. Onto the hinge of that gate, perfectly positioned. Stepping in, nicely done. They're in now. Will they stay there? Had a little look. Will's gone for the gate. They look good. Will Goggin completing the course in our top 10. Number 1 of our top 10. We'll wait on his score. Fantastic effort with Little Beck. Paul. Will Goggin with Valmari Beck. Scored a 78.5. Stepping out to the handler's post now. Paul Darmody with his dog Marlin. Paul, defending Supreme Champion, won it last time. Not sure that it was this dog that won, but he's out there to do it again if he can. Top 10 of the Dog Pro Supreme here in Geelong at the Geelong Showgrounds. And Marlin sent on a right-hand cast. Black and white. Smooth-coated Border Collie. And he arrives nice and deep. And he just starts them on their journey. So let's see what these sheep look like. 3 fairly big ones. Red tag weathers. Been used for all of the trial this week. It's a lot of sheep. Lots of runs. And they've been challenging but workable. So some good scores. And the weather has really played a role. Part of the day that you get them can destroy dogs. And here we are, early afternoon in Victoria. The wind's up, the sun's shining. And I think Geelong might be vying for the Windy City title because it has not stopped. All week that wind has been howling, and it's pretty cool too. It's an icy wind. But we've had it all. We've had hail. We've had rain. We've had thunder and lightning. But today, a bit of sunshine and a bit of relief, and it's brought the crowds out. And out there now, Paul Darmody, Marlon, just trying to get these sheep down. And you can see they're just not that interested. They're hungry. They want to have a snack. So Marlon's got his work cut out for him. He's got to get them moving. "15 minutes to complete the course. Plenty of time if things go well. But as we saw in some of the runs, especially in the Improver final, you can get there with plenty of time and still not shut the gate because not always are they cooperative. And if you have a look at the sheep, you can see that they've had the wigging, the haircut, just off the top of their head, giving them good vision, but that side vision, that peripheral vision, that's the important one. It gets when the dog sits on that shoulder and just steers them. If they can't quite see, they'll turn to look, and then their heads are facing in the wrong direction, and that's what's been happening. They're constantly turning to see where the dog is because they can't quite see out the side, and that's proving challenging. And here we go, Marlon nose to nose. And they're just taking him on a little bit. He's a free-moving dog, upright. Hasn't got a huge amount of eye. Pretty settled, calm dog. Leggy. A good little block there. Just rolled them around. And away they go around that handler's post. Perfect view. And they're away. So the judge drops in behind, follows them. He can see if the sheep take a step out of that corridor, and it only takes a step. They only got to step across that line for a point to be deducted. And here we go. We've had a split. Two have gone, one stayed behind, and now he's started to catch up. So that's okay. Paul continuing his walk. Paul's been the president of the Australian Working Sheepdog Association, held offices in all avenues of sheepdog trialling and been a contributor. And also very successful in sheepdog trialling, winning the Supreme last time. So he's not going to muck around. He'll know what he's doing. He'll realise that better keep these sheep on course and save every point he can. They've just bumped a little bit. We get a closer look at them again, and you can see they've still got a fair bit of wool on their head. Head and neck area, pretty thick. And that sheep at the front, he's having a look to go through the gap, but the other two, they're busy munching away, and away they go. No trouble. Paul dressed up in his Victorian or New South Wales outfit. Blazer, cap, looking fantastic. And they're heading towards that race. Pretty tidy so far. Be happy with how they're tracking along. And see, he's just using his stick to conduct things. letting the dog know just to hold up for a sec. Some of these dogs like to get to the head and control the sheep, and just getting him to sit on that shoulder and just steer him from behind. It's a sweet spot. And he's got him nicely placed, heading towards that race. Heads it still down on those sheep. They've had a bit of a look. Straightening up now. Paul steps into the circle. Oh, he's almost going to carry him straight through, and they're nearly set. In fact, they are going straight in. Beautifully done. Not even a glimmer of sideways movement. They just walk straight through. So Paul sets himself, picks him up in his pocket again, and he's off to the bridge. Marlon's doing a beautiful job, just keeping out of trouble. And I don't know what Paul's got in his pockets, but he's got them following him, and I reckon he might have dropped a few lupins in there or something, because they are just sitting on his hip almost. It's as nice as you'd like. Now they've just stopped for a bit of a munch, and this is where the trouble starts, because he's got to keep them in contact with him without letting them get 9 metres behind. And just as he passes that next cone, he wants them to tick along. He manages it, I think, but it's marginal. It's so easy for them to get too far behind or too far in front, and that corridor is so narrow that a point off to the side is pretty easy to lose. And so far so good. He'd be happy with this. Pretty good run. Keeping him up, keeping him steady. Let's see, they just stopped for a second now and decided to have a little go at the dog. Marlon kept his cool, didn't bother. They head to that bridge. Judge in his buggy just sets himself so he can see across the face in case they duck down the side. It's been a pretty good obstacle all week. It hasn't really given us too much trouble. And the bridge can be tricky. The bridge can be really tough. But these sheep pretty happy to lead up onto it. Might have been loaded on a truck or two in their lifetime, so not too bothered. Here we go. First one's looking. Marlon was anticipating him going, so he was going to catch him at the other side. So he got called back. Put him over first, Marlon. And away they go. So that was pretty easy. And Paul's on a pretty good run. This takes a moment to settle. Ton of time. Really done it in record time almost. He's not in any time trouble at all, but as we've said before, getting to the pen too early can ruin a good run because they got too much time to run around it. But at the moment, I don't think they're doing much running at all. They're just doing a lot of nibbling of the grass. A little breakaway then. Good stop by Marlon. And Paul's moving along, heading towards that ultimate pen. Marlon just putting a little block on, comes to the tail, steers them again. Working towards the pen. It's got them carried nicely. Setting up really well. But they're in the top 10 for a reason, and they've done it before and they'll do it again. So he steps into the handler's circle. Stepping forward, steering them. How close he can get. He does not. Oh, one slipped down the side, so what looked pretty good. He just squeezed between the gap between the gate and the handler, and now Marlon's got to bring him back around again. He's turned him. Hopefully the next move is towards the pen, and it is. He's going towards the pen. They're rolling around. They're on the hinge. He hasn't really had a confrontation all the way around the ground, and you wouldn't want one here because anything could happen. But so far they look all right. They're settled. He just inches them forward. And they just got to make them feel a little uncomfortable, but not scared. And the sheep's leading in a little bit, inching forward, right on that hinge. Paul, he's ready to go. As soon as they go in, he's going to get that gate shut if he can. Here we go, confrontation time. Oh, a little bump. Was it enough? Looks like it might have been just what they needed. And in they step. Paul's going for the gate. Well, Marlon, he just turned it on when he needed to, and wasn't that a great move? Fantastic trial for Darmody with Marlon getting the gate shut. Number 2 in our top 10. We'll be running through the full top 10 to see our ultimate champion. Our next trialer out will be Billy Davison. He's sitting at the top position with the Grass Valley Flake. Paul Darmody comes back, and we'll wait on Bill taking up his position. Bill Davison takes his position. First round score of 87.5. Follow that up with a 93.5. So with an aggregate of 181, he was sitting first. But we've had a couple of scores since then. But first after 2 rounds, Paul Darmody posted a terrific 92.5 in his 3rd round. So pushes him up to the lead at the moment after 2 runs. Flake has just arrived around her sheep. White dog. Bill was our judge for our Trans-Tasman Test, Australian judge and manager. Doing an amazing job trialling dogs, judged the novice as well. Very, very busy trial for Billy. And he's a nice bloke as well, so wish him well. Grass Valley dog all the way from Western Australia, bred by Grant Cook. He's done a good job so far. Came in on the top score after 2 rounds. See the sheep just starting to move towards that winding peg. Flake just catches their heads, blocks them up, lets them know that he's going to be in charge. Just strains them up, heads them towards where Billy is standing. He's feeling the pressure on this left-hand side and just holding that line. He wants them to come down on Billy's left-hand side, not this side of the course. And they're going pretty nicely at the moment. The sheep get pretty relaxed pretty quick, and they're already starting to eat the grass. And sometimes the white dogs are just able to settle their sheep, especially if they're a little bit mad. And the sheep just seem to allow these really light coloured dogs in close. Flake's doing a good job, just bringing them down nicely and steadily. Not really upsetting them. Now right on their heads in the little confrontation. Yeah, he's good enough. Turns them nicely. Head down towards that winding peg, the handler's post. He'll bring them around on his left, and then he's away. Just taking his time, trying not to upset them, but getting them so they're in contact with the dog. Not having to do a whole heap. Little movements at the moment. Just rolling them around. Just breaking out a little bit off course there. And around they come. Bill sends Flake around the front. Put up a fence. Now just manoeuvring around a bit so they don't break away. And they're just off course a minute for the moment. Just wandered a little bit off to Bill's right, away from where he would ideally like them. Just bringing them on now, so that's good. A little better. Saw poor Darmody just get them walking in his pocket, almost. Bill would love to be able to get the same thing, because these sheep, when they start going zigging and zagging across the course, there's no doubt they cost you a few points. Bill Davis is number 3 in our top 10 at the moment. Third one out. And it's tied already. We're really seeing the best of the best. Vying for that ultimate prize, the Hypro Supreme Championship here at the Geelong Showgrounds. It's been a tough week. Dogs have had to deal with all sorts of conditions. And the sheep travelling from all parts of the state to compete, of Australia to compete. And so he's just reversing Flake off. And that sheep was pretty happy to run at him, lining him up now. And the pressure of that obstacle, it just creates a bit of a stir. And even the magpie joined in there for a second. They'll save the day there a little bit. And our first problem sheep has reared its ugly head, and there he goes, running break. Still going. Still going. Still going. Goodness, that was tough. They're just running at the dog and into the fence. Oh, Flake was there to cover it, but that sheep is just taking no notice. Oh, Billy Davis got pretty animated then. They were tough. They were just going for it. And it only takes one sheep just to break behind a dog in those situations, and trials all over. I mean, such a big trial at stake at the moment. And he's got himself in a bit of trouble with this sheep. He's not being the most cooperative animal, and he's giving Flake a bit of a runaround. And he's got him back now. A little run again. Ooh, Flake, he's got to be on his game. And lines him up this time. And there he goes. That's where he should have gone in the first place. He's heading for home. Flake's there to catch him. Good job. So Bill's got his work cut out for him this afternoon. Had him on a string until they hit that pressure of that obstacle. As soon as the pressure of the obstacle came up, that sheep decided he didn't want to play anymore, and he took a run. And you can see he's still got his head up in the air, very high, wanting to run. The other two, they don't really care. They're not bothered at all. They're just pretty happy to just amble along. But it's that one on the right with a wrinkle in its head. Pretty keen to get running. Well, Bill's got him a little better now, and they on course, heading towards the race. Maybe that little battle was all he needed to get him settled. It's super costly, but it's a point or two, and it's every point counts when the scores are so tight at the top. It just seemed, for no real particular reason, that sheep decided to head for the fence. He's got him a bit better now. And maybe he'll just lead him through. He's heading in the right direction. Down the side. Oh, he's just broken out. Not quite. Flake's there. Still in front of the obstacle. That's okay. Bends him back. But, if Flake wasn't on a job then, that sheep was gone. So straight through. Line them up now for the bridge. Bill just taking a few moments. Just get them tracking in the right direction. Flake's having a good influence now. He's not putting up with their nonsense. Coming around to the head again. Just so they don't get too far in front as they approach that bridge, because we've seen as soon as they approach the pressure, they just start to fire up a bit. And the bridge is a bit of pressure. You've got to put some pressure on the sheep to get them to go up that ramp, and then hope they don't camp up there so the dog can just push them off from downstairs. They just wandered off to the right again. Every little run they make just seems to be a point or two, and they're not really running hard, they're just braking. So he brings them around, back in front of that bridge, hopefully. They make it easy for him. Here we go. They've had a little look, heads in the right direction, just wheeling out of the mouth. Steers them beautifully straight up, and he's straight up behind them. Make sure they come off. Great work. Around Flake goes. Picks them up on the other side. So that was pretty straightforward. Bill Davison, very experienced trialer. Takes a moment. Sets them up. And away they go. So just a pen to go. Still a few points on offer that he could be lost if they break around the course here, but they're walking right in the middle. On course, having a little nibble, not running. Looking good. Nearly there. Heading to the pen. This will be a little bit of a relief because there's been a few moments of tension. Still a good run. Still worked very well. But they've just never looked like Bill's totally in control of the situation. They've always just given you a bit of a flutter as they pick their heads up and look to go. So they're heading to the pen. Bill steps into the circle. They're well positioned. Flake's got his side covered. Don't need him to squeeze between Bill and the gate. That's the track. Once they get the idea they can run through there, they're off and gone. Rolls them around. Tippy toes in. Points them into the pen. They've seen there's no escape. They've seen it. Flake's got to make them go in there. Little move. Swirling at the front. In they go. Not quite all the way in yet. Now they are stepping in. Happily grazing. That's a good sign. Bill's going for the gate. He's not going to muck around. Get that gate shut. Billy Davison, Grass Valley, Flake. Putting up a really good run on some tricky 3 sheep. We'll wait on his score. Our next competitor will be Stuart Child from New Zealand with Diesel. Diesel's been representing New Zealand in the test team. Done a terrific job. And also won his way through to the top 10 of our Supreme Championship. Had some great scores. 86.5. Followed it up with an 86. Billy Davison with Grass Valley Flake put on a 87.5, which has put him in first place at the moment after 3 runs with an aggregate of 268.5. So fantastic run, tight, 1 point in it. between first, half a point in it between first and second. So Stewart and Diesel ready to go. 3 sheep are out. And he's been quite impressive all the way up from New Zealand. And this dog has been performing really well. Big leggy, tri-coloured, smooth-coated dog. And runs nice and deep. Superbly trained, listens to the whistles, stops on a dime. There, see, he covers the ground. He's very quick. Loping action. He's doing very nicely. Just let him wander a little bit there off to the right. Stewart's left. See the distance the dog's got. Huge distance. Controlling him from such a long way. He's going to need to break down that flight zone a little bit if he can, so he can get in contact with them, because if they do start to run, they'll be out of position a little bit. So he'll just break it down a little bit, get the dog in a bit closer without upsetting him. And so he's just flanking him left and flanking him right, letting the sheep know there's a dog out there. And now he slowly breaks it down. Bringing him a little bit closer now. And sheep seem pretty happy grazing. Not too fussed about anything at the moment. But as we've seen throughout the trials, there's always one. Having a little look at Diesel now. Stuart just whistles him in. Just wandered off course behind the handler's post, and for an ideal run they'd be inside that orange cone, orange marker. And they just got outside of it a little bit, and they're staying outside of it, and they're having a little run now. So when Diesel was quick, he got around. He's going to try and squeeze them back in again. There we go, back on course. Stewart's away. Diesel just turned them back towards the handler's post. He's got a bit of presence to him, and he's just got him moving in the wrong direction. Now he's back on track, but they're having a run. Stewart in his earlier run, where Diesel scored a score in the 90s for New Zealand, took the test away from Australia. But he's just not having quite the same effect at the moment. They're just breaking off course either side. And they just haven't settled. They're running a little bit. Diesel's there again, blocking him up. Stewart kicks him off. See if he can get him to walk. He just can't quite get into their vision and get them walking, because every time their head comes up they have a little run, and they're doing it again. Might just stop him this time. Pulls them up nicely, and Diesel steps in. Look at him lift his chest up. Dominating, trying to dominate those sheep. He's got a runner. He's just caught it, and he's running hard. He's running really hard. Get in there, Diesel. Blocks him up, sends him back to his mates. The other two didn't bother at all, but that single, if Diesel hadn't have been there, he was leaving the country, probably heading back to New Zealand. He's a pretty good leader, but he's just leading him astray at the moment. There he goes, running hard. Oh, well done. Diesel got there in time. But they looked pretty good coming out, and all of a sudden, as we found in every run, one sheep steps up and says, no, I don't want to play this game anymore, I'm heading home. And the other two are just munching grass, so Diesel go again. Not quite tucked in onto that panel, so which way will he go this time? He's looking for the gap. Through he goes, takes them through. Oh, he took two of them through, and Diesel went a bit early. So he's going to have to do it again, and that is not a good result. And Diesel just went a little early. He felt that lead sheep was leaving the country, and he was. So it wasn't a bad decision, but as he went, he caught the eye of that last sheep and just turned its head out of the opening, and so he's got to reset and redo it all again. And we know that sheep will go through. Well, they just don't want him to clear out. I think Diesel was a little bit ahead of the game there. He's had a big day representing his country. And there they go again. This time, got it. It's that scrawny one at the back that's just lagging a bit and creates a split. Okay, they're away. And the gap hasn't been the easiest obstacle. It's created some headaches. And they're on to the race now. And that big guy on the right-hand side, he's the one that's been leading him astray. And then the scraggly one on the inside, he's been lagging behind, so it's not a one-man show. Away they go, heading to the race. Stuart getting his boot skates on, he's striding out, heading towards his handler's circle. A little bit different to the drive that he's just completed. This is a carry. Diesel gets to the head and slows him up. Stuart steps into his handler's circle now. Takes up his position, and hopefully he can just steer him through. They've just gone down the side. One has. And comes back again. And going the other way. They're not working as a team in any way. They're just wanting to run at the moment. A little bit of stirring. It's got down the side again. And down the side again. Oh. They managed to take a few points just for their trouble. And they haven't finished yet by the look of them. Diesel's on the job. He's quick. Look how fast he moved. Covered that sheep. Turned their heads. Popped them through. Well done, Diesel. Diesel and Stuart out there as they make their way towards the bridge. Hasn't been the tidiest run. They've just sort of run from spinning on the spot from side to side, stick their nose either side of those obstacles, and they're all points, and for no real reason other than they're just being sheep. So away they go. A little breakaway again on the right hand side. Diesel's onto it. Brings them back on course, and they head towards that bridge. And so far both the obstacles have been a little bit tricky. So what's the bridge going to do? They're having a bit of a run. And that big one was going to go off on his own there for a second, but he might lead them straight over. He's got himself set. And Diesel comes around, points him up. There we go. Little one's leading up, big one's leading up. And they're over without no trouble at all. Beautifully done. Fantastic work. Alright, so Diesel. Just the pen. And they've broken out again. Come across the ground and out onto Stuart's left. You'll need to pop them back into that corridor if you can. And again, the sun goes away and the wind picks up, so nothing's going right at the moment. And most people would be pretty tidy run, but this is the top 10 of the Supreme Championship, and every single point counts. And the difference between the top two is half a point at the moment, so saving a point here is really crucial. What can he do? Heading to the pen. It's proving to be challenging. Inching them forward. Heading towards the opening. Stuart steps in the circle. They're leading up. Diesel's got to be quick. Oh, he got it. Turned it in and turned them out straight around the side. Squeezed between that gate and Stuart. Here we go again with like this side, the other side this time. They're just wanting to stick their nose down the obstacle and around the side again. So they look pretty good, but they didn't like the look of that pen. And Diesel just caught the head of that sheep as he was going around the side. And he popped it back again, but he just bumped it. Here we go. This is looking better. They've gone into the pen. They've stood up. Now they're facing the dog. Mexican standoff. Diesel steps in. Plenty of time. That sheep drops its head. Stomps his feet. Diesel's got to get him to go in there without exploding. He just wants him to roll off him, but he hasn't done that all day. He's the one that's been running. Great vision, watching that sheep. Look at the tension in the dog. He's stirring a little bit. He's coming out. He's still coming out. Diesel's there. What can he do? He might have to snod him. Boy. When you think everything's going well and you get to the pen, if Stuart moves, that sheep's out of there. He's got to hold it. He's going for the gate. He's not going to wait. He's got the gate shut. Whew. Heart in your mouth stuff. Stuart Child with Diesel getting the job done in the top 10 here at the Dog Pro Hypro Supreme Championship. We'll wait on his score. Scott Smith with Wynella Pink steps to the post. First round score of 89, followed that up with an 82. Currently sitting on 171. Stuart Child with Diesel scored a 69 in his third round, giving him a total of 241.5. Currently sitting fourth. Leading the pack at the moment, Bill Davis and Grass Valley Flake on a 268.5. 0.5 of a point. So 1.5 points, sorry, ahead of Paul Darmody. Pretty tight at the top. Scott Smith, Wynella Pink out there at the moment. And Pink's arrived and picked up her sheep. Smooth coated black and white dog leggy. As he brings the sheep down towards the handler's post. Scott's got three pretty good sheep at the moment. They look good. They look settled. On course. Little run now. And that's when we see their true colours. When the pressure goes on, the sheep look good until the pressure goes on. Then we see which one's going to give us trouble. And we've got a fairly tall sheep on the inside that keeps looking back at the dog. Got his head down now. And Scott's got him well positioned. As they come around that winding peg. Getting ready to go. He's going to see if he can draw them along with him. Away they go, little breakout. Off to the left of the course. And Pink's quite a distance off them. Staying very wide. Scott. Very slow walking. Just trying to keep them calm. And hopefully keep them on course. Pink's just having to run miles. She's a long way off them, but she's having to run miles to try and get in contact. And she just can't get there in time because the sheep are able to just amble off out of that corridor without too much trouble. She's running very, very hard. And just not quite able to catch them. Here they go again. She's taken the long way around, but she's got there this time. But they don't look too bad. They look like they're pretty relaxed. No real runners at the moment. As they approach the first point of pressure, which is the gap. Again, they take a point from stepping out of the corridor. Just ambling out almost, just strolling out. Not running, not upset, just thinking, oh, well, that bit of grass out there looks pretty good. I might go and have that. So Scott gets himself set. He's coming towards the handler's circle now. He's got them well positioned. A little bit of run, a little bit of a stir. Oh, don't need them running hard now. He's got them walking. Show them the gap. Straight through. Goodness, beautifully done. Pink swings around to the other side. Turns their heads. And away they go. So that was pretty sweet. Pink way off the sheep. Scott's just ambling along, keeping them in his pocket if he can. Brings Pink around. They straighten up nicely. A little bit of a jog on, and again, just stick their noses out of the corridor. Scott Smith, Wynella Pink. A couple of 80s on the board, an 89 and an 82. He's going to need a really good score to put him up the top. In the top few. And the sheep are just pinching points all around the ground at the moment on every dog. They're just not giving you that perfect run. Here they go, heading towards that race. Scott steps into his circle. Fronts them up. Tries to bend their heads. Oh, just down the side. Setting them up. Just milling at the front there, not really going through. So Pink comes in and then presses them enough, and through they go. Nicely done. So it's the big sheep at the front that's setting the pace. Hasn't done too much damage to anybody, but they've just sort of meandered off course, not with any conviction. Just grazed their way around the course, and Pink has been really careful. But that distance she's got between her and the sheep has allowed them to just wander. And now she's coming in and taking control, and they're stirring a little bit. And this is really the first time she's had good confrontation. And she's going to have to back them up a bit because they're not turning. And Scott is just getting away a little bit. He needs to keep them in contact. Here we go. That's better. Now they're having a run. Oh, Pink was good. She got there in a flash, covered that break. And now she's a bit closer. And because she's a bit closer, she's got less ground to cover. But it's a double-edged sword because that closeness can create nervous sheep. Just got them moving nicely now. Heading towards the bridge. Every time that sheep's head pops up, she gives him a glare. He gives Pink a glare. Pink says, go ahead, make my day. I'm not cared about you. So one just stuck down the side a little bit then. But they're well positioned. And Pink's going to have to come in and just bump them over. Try and do it in a positive way, but nicely, so they don't come off running. Scott taking his time. Just flanking Pink a little bit, trying to get them to roll. A little bit of tension. Turns them. They had a little look to run. Pink was there. Blocks them on Scott's side. Give them a chance, they'll go. Just milling at the front. Not committed. Just facing the dog now. Pink tippy toes forward. What can she do? She's had a pretty good run so far. It's been pretty uneventful. Just the odd point here and the odd point there from them just meandering off course. And now we're just at a little standoff at the front of the bridge. And you can see, oh, little jump. You can see Scott's jacket flapping in the wind. And they're backed up against that ramp and they can feel the ramp on their back feet. And they need to turn to look to see there's an escape, otherwise they're going to come back over that dog. Pink nose to nose with them. Moving left and moving right. He wants a sheep to roll. If a sheep rolls, it'll take him over. They're just backing up. Now they're feeling the ramp in their legs again. What's going to happen here? She might have to do something. She's stepping in, stomping their feet. One's turning. Might turn, might take him. It's turned back again. Little bump. One's gone up. Stopped on top of the bridge. Hasn't taken its mates with him. It's coming back down again now. But they're on. At least they're on. But the other two just don't want to turn off Pink. Pink is standing there doing everything in her powers to make them turn, and they just won't turn off her. And Scott's just trying to bring her to his side and just put some pressure on the shoulder of that sheep and just roll it around if you can. And you got one sheep sitting on the bridge happy. Oh, one's gone out. One's gone around the back. Two. Oh, he's got that one single is going up and down that ramp like he's on a playground. And now they're all off. So that's unfortunate because this is taking up a bit of time and he's got to restart it all again. But one has been on the bridge. And that's a good start. At least if one goes, the others may follow. He's got enough time if he can get it done. He can't muck around. Oh, that sheep's decided to do a lap. Two one way, one the other. So they got into the mouth of that bridge and they had to be pressured. And as soon as they get out of there, they don't want to go back in because that's where all the pressure was. And the relief came when they escaped. So the more they run, the more freedom they have, they feel. Here we go. Back in front again. One's had a look. This time. Turned out again. Back facing the dog. He might have to get a little bit of pressure. Time's getting away. He wants that pen. The first confrontation that came up happens to be the bridge. There they go. Up they go. Off the bridge. He's got to get a move on. He might struggle. He wouldn't want to walk too slowly. He'd know by the time on his clock that he's got only a minute to go. He might struggle. He's got the sheep moving fast. Countdown's on. Clock's against him. Scott Smith with Pink heading to the pen. But the clock could beat him here if he doesn't get a real wriggle on. He's going to have, at best, one go. At worst, he'll run out of time. He's got him moving. He's striding out. 30 seconds left. Countdown's on. We're rooting for you, Scott. We want him in. This is the top 10 of the Hypro Supreme Championship for the ultimate prize. And Scott's got 10 seconds to get him in the gate and get the gate shut. He's going to struggle. They just started to graze a bit. The countdown's going to beat him. What can he do? Time's up. So Scott Smith with pink, just running out of time at the pen. Terrific run. Great job. And 15 minutes, just not enough time for Scott to get it all done. Scott Smith with Vinella Pink. Just had his run, didn't quite get the pen. Out there now is Scott Hunter, another one of our New Zealand team. Performing very well in the test match. Out there with Lucy. First round score of 90.5. Followed that up with an 80. With an aggregate of 170.5. So let's see how he handles these sheep today. Worked really well this morning. Did a great job in the test match, winning it for New Zealand. Lucy just getting in touch with these sheep for the first time. And they've been tricky all day. They haven't been the most cooperative sheep. But we're already halfway through this top 10. 5 scores posted. And we're down to number 6, Lucy, Scott Hunter. So the Kiwis have done pretty well. Got 3 into the top 10. Just showing their ability to work these dogs on these tricky merinos. Posted pretty good scores. But there's still some great dogs to come. And some really good handlers. So don't go anywhere. The best is yet to come. Oh, Scott, it's just whistling up to Lucy. She's got pretty close already. Sheep are not too bothered. Just drifted off a little bit to the right there to Scott's left-hand side. Again, it's straight lines, 9-metre corridor. And each time they get out of that 9-metre corridor, it's a new line or a new corridor. on the cast and on the draw, from the draw down. So we want our dogs to try and bring them in straight lines, but if they do break, it's a new straight line. We don't have to bring them back to the original line. They just deduct the points and then start again. At the moment, these sheep are not that bothered about Lucy at all. They're just happy to get a bit of feed. It's been the story until the pressure came on, and then they put it to the dogs, as we saw in the last run at the bridge. Poor old Pink had a little bit of trouble at the bridge, couldn't get them to look. They wanted to take her on, and then they wanted to chuck laps around the pen. Around the bridge. And as the afternoon goes on, they could get trickier if the wind picks up even more. Bit of cloud cover, overcast conditions. Been pretty consistent all day. Just been chilly, really. Nothing dramatic. And around they go. A little bit of a run. Lucy's onto it. Covers that break, and now we see which one's going to give us some problems. They've settled quickly. And Scott's away. He's taken his step off the post. He's got to keep going. So the Kiwis have brought a pretty good side out with them, handling these merino sheep pretty well. Probably not used to really running sheep. Probably heavier types, more crossbred types, but the dogs they got here at the moment, they don't seem to have any trouble at all with them. And these are not overly runny, they're just sort of a little bit silly at times. They haven't just run all over the ground like some sheep can. They've been a little bit reactive at times. So he just pops them back on course and they've come off the other side. And that's what they do. They don't just stay in the corridor. They just wander from left to right. As they're leading up now to the race, to the gap. Scott just a little bit late to send Lucy, and they got away from him. No big damage, just a point or two. And bring them in. Let's see if you can just wheel them around. Not taking much notice of the dog, but they're still moving, so that's good. Maybe they're noticing more than we think. They step in now, head towards the gap. Got a leader looking. I'll make sure they don't slip around the side. Little stomp at Lucy. Getting her to step in. I've seen the gap. Through they go. Nicely done. So not too much damage done. Got them set up nicely now. A little breakaway again. And just every time the dog breaks out a little bit, the sheep seem to take that ground. So we head off to the race. And just wandering on that line there and taking a point or two as they wander down that course. And they add up after a little while. Just isn't able to get them right in the middle where he'd like them. That safe zone. and to the right again. Judge is right there watching it, following the line. And now they set themselves up for the race in this top 10. Hypro Supreme Championship. Oh, and they run across the face. So you had them set up pretty well. And now they're steering. Just getting Lucy to step in and turn their heads if you can. Flanks over that, just trying to slip down that side. She was there, covers it. Now they try the other side, it straightens them up, in they go. That was impressive. Just a little movement, just caught that lead sheep's eye and turned it in. And it's as nice as you like. So they're away, heading for the bridge. They started with over 200 dogs in this championship. Been running for 7 or so days. We've whittled it down. Top 20, then down to the top 10. And these are the dogs that have held their own in the 3 rounds so far. 2 rounds so far, into the 3rd round now. And it's not without its problems, but these are the best. So Scott and Lucy starting to line that bridge up now. Hopefully we can just steer them in, set them up, and pop them through. Got them well set. Rolling around the front. A little bit of pressure. Oh, break around the side. 2 one way, 1 the other. Well, that's frustrating because they were looking good. Lucy just gathers them up. See if he can set up. We saw in the last run the bridge all of a sudden became a bit of a tricky obstacle after being quite a breeze all day. For some reason, this group of sheep are not impressed by having to run up a ramp. So here we go, this time. Did such a good job at the race. Little breakaway. Lucy's onto it. And the sheep just pivoting on the spot, turning, twisting, refusing to go. And there he goes, breaks down the side. And back down the other side. He's broken away a fair bit now, so he's had a pretty good run up until this point, and the wheels are just starting to get a bit shaky. Time becomes an issue. If he can get him in this turn, he should be okay. What can he do? You see the whistle got a little bit louder then. I think the pressure's coming. And that sheep is not looking at all. Down the side. Around the front. They haven't done. He's still not bothering. Lucy's working hard out. This time. Turn. Look. Go. So he got it done. He'll check his watch. He'll realise that he's got a couple of minutes only. Plenty of time if things go well. He doesn't need to panic. If things go well, he should be fine. Heading in the right direction. Got a little bit of the run on. Strides out, heading towards that pen. 20 points on it, really important. He gets the gate shut to be competitive. He's had a couple of hiccups out there. Didn't come in on the highest score. But he can jump a place or two because there's been a couple of times where they haven't been able to get the gate shut. And there's still dogs to come, so every point counts. Checks his watch. Heads towards that handler's circle. Lines them up. And they gave him some grief at that bridge, didn't they? And this could all pay off because the same pressure comes from the pen. And the work she did at the bridge might just get him in a good frame of mind to walk straight in. They're lining up. They're just ducking through. One down the side. Well, time does become an issue now. That sheep's learned that there's a gap between the handler and the gate. And once they learn that, they don't mind stepping in there. And it's really hard for the dog to cover that side. Here we go. Little walk in the right direction. Setting him up. Push him in, Lucy. He's got him there. Oh, you got right at the front. Little swirl. One down the side. Now they're better. Get him in, Lucy. Oh, and he's come out. Had him in. The sheep broke out. I think he's going to do his time. It's ticking away. And that was his one and only chance. And there it is. Their whistle goes. Ends his run. Scott Hunter from New Zealand with Lucy. Great trial. Unfortunately, not getting the gate shut. We'll wait on his score. Ben Miller with King steps up to the handler's post. Our third competitor from New Zealand, 3 making the top 10. And also had a very good trial this morning, representing New Zealand in the test match. He was first out, 7:30 this morning, running his dog. And he put on quite a decent score, so all warmed up and ready to go. 24 years old, the youngest member of the New Zealand Test team. Family history of trialling and representing his country. So first time out, first time in Australia. And here he is with King showing the way, doing a great job. So King's come out around the sheep. He's got them pretty well in contact. And there's a scrawny one on the right that's decided he doesn't like King very much and stood up to him and stomped his feet. So this could be our problem sheep for the day. He really doesn't like King. The other two couldn't care less. They're busily eating grass, but it's that one on the far side to put himself in the middle now. Good place for him. And now he's going to have a run. He's going to run away. There we go. King was onto it. Look at that dog. Head low. Tension. Concentration. Just steps in. He's just got him right on a string. Just stepping into that shoulder. But that scrawny one's having a look backwards. What's going to happen? Is it going to go? Decides not to. Steps in. It's good position. Got two sheep between him and the troubled sheep. Helps a little bit because he won't be freaked out. It comes down to the pressure of the situation when we get to these obstacles, how he behaves, because that will be the test. We'll get some scores for you directly. Keep you up to speed. As King brings them down to the handler's post. We had Will Goggin out first. He had a first round score of 94, followed that up with an 82.5. And in his top 10 runoff, he scored a 78.5 for a total of 255. He's sitting third at the moment. Paul Darmody with Marlin scored a 92.5, followed that up with an 82. And then a terrific 92.5 in his top 10 score for a total of 267. He's sitting second. Billy Davison, Grass of 80 Flakes, scored an 87.5. Followed that up with a 93.5. And then scored an 87.5 in his top 10 score, giving him a total of 268.5. And he's sitting pretty at the top at the moment. Stuart Child with Diesel had an 86.5, followed it up with an 86, and he got a final score of 69 in his top 10 score, giving him a total of 241.5. Scott Smith, our last trialer from Australia that was out there, scored an 89, followed that up with an 82, and his top 10 score was a 59, giving him a total of 230. So King's managed to manoeuvre those sheep around the winding peg, and Ben's taking a step, and he's away. Scott Hunter from New Zealand with Lucy had a 90.5, followed that up with an 80. And his final score there, not getting the pen, was a 49, giving him a total of 219.5. Out on the trial ground at the moment, Ben Miller, also from New Zealand, with his dog King, and it looking very nice indeed. He's just taking his time. And we picked that scrawny one as trouble, and sure enough, just as we start to talk about it, he leads them on a little mission off the course. And there's plenty of trialers out there that wouldn't mind carrying a firearm with them to get rid of sheep like that. Because he doesn't look too good. But anyway, we get what we get and we work what we work. So let's see how we go. Because Ben, whilst he's a young fella, has done a lot of sheep work in his time, and he knows he'll be watching that sheep and he'll know that King had better be on his toes. Look at him go again. He's having a run, covering some ground. And he hasn't put his head down yet. He's just kept his head up the whole time, walking towards King at the moment. King steps in. It just becomes very tricky to try and manage that single sheep. who wants to run away and the other two that couldn't care less. So if he tries to bring the 2 to the 1 will be gone. So King's hanging on to him. But if he puts him through the gap, the other 2 won't even care. They're not following him. They don't want to be with him. They just want to eat the grass. So it's a bit of a trap here for King. He's got a bit of a challenge on his hands, and that little scrawny sheep at the front, if he gets through that gap, he's going to go. So he's got to bring them through together, and that might settle him down. Here we go. Brings the big guy up. He wants to lead, but the others don't want to follow. Looking down the side. King steps in nicely around his sheep. Steps in closer. Oh, little balk. And through he goes. Nicely done. So they're off to the race. It's going to take a moment just to line them up. If he can put that scrawny one between the other 2, he'll have much better opportunity. He's done a nice job of that. Just wants to stay with them if it's next to them. But once it gets out on its own, it becomes a whole different kettle of fish. And there he goes, leading them off. Got him working nicely, the right direction. King's movement is beautiful to watch. Really good shape around his sheep. He's already ahead of the game, reading the situation. Low crouching style. Let's see what he can do. Oh, that sheep's turned on him again. And we've seen a few trials come unstuck at these obstacles. This one's been okay. The bridge has been a bit of a problem. And even the gap's given some trialers a bit of grief. Ben's a pretty cool customer. Stays calm, not panicking. Checks his watch. Got a ton of time if things go well. Gets King to step in. Turn their heads. Point them in the right direction. Here they go. Did that beautifully. Just a little nudge. Caught them on the other side. Straightened them up and popped them through. And Ben wastes no time. He steps out of the circle and he's off to the bridge. The sheep seem to be settling, although don't want to get fooled. He's still a little bit life in that sheep yet. King just keeps winning the battles, and that's all he can do. Every time the sheep gives him a challenge, King's got to step up and win. And so far, so good. And Ben striding out, big, tall, young fella. Heading towards that bridge. Keep those 2 up with the 1. Don't let it get away. Just a little bit out to the right. Just having a run. King's onto it. Blocks it on the other side. And this is where the talent of the dog really pays off. You see the shape around the sheep. It's just delightful. Nice arc. Not taking any ground. And when he wants to walk in, he walks in nice and clean. A little bit of pressure, just applying it. That scrawny one's in a good position. He's blocked by the other 2. Will he lead him up? He had a look. He thought about it. King's around the other side, blocking him up. There's nowhere for him to go except up the bridge. If King can put out the blocks he has, that's beautifully done. He thought about coming out, but King was onto it. Straightens him up. And over they go. Well, that was really good dog work. That dog was on the job. There was no hesitation. He covered that sheep beautifully. He knew what he was doing, and he put him over. And credit to him. What a great dog. So here we go. We've seen a few trials come unstuck here. The pen, and that sheep there, King sorted him out well and truly at the bridge, but will it become the end of the trial for King? Will he have sorted this sheep out? He's still got his head up. He's still looking to go. Not running, just walking, but he's still looking. And the pressure of the pen will be the next big test. Just leading away with leaving his mates behind. He's not too bothered. He's having a bit of a graze now himself, so good indication he's starting to relax. But as they approach that pen, they just get a little trot on. Ben steps into the circle, getting there with plenty of time. What can he do? That lead sheep, he's looking to go, get King around. He's got to be careful. He's looking to go. King breaks out. Arrived in the nick of time. Turn their heads. Point them in. Shut the gate. He's right there for it. Oh, he's just slipped down the side. Nose, only his nose. And King just brings him back this time. He's let him in. He felt the pressure of the back. He's coming out. Oh, King was onto it in a flash. And Ben goes for the gate. Wow. That was amazing. Fantastic trial. Ben Miller from New Zealand with King getting the gate shut and posting what will be a pretty good score, you'd expect. Bernard McGlashan steps to the handler's post. Number 8 in our top 10. McGlashan's Tuz. First round scored 95. Follow that up with a 77. Sitting on 172 at the moment. Ben Miller from New Zealand. We said it was a good run, and boy it was. posted a 92 out of 100, putting his score at 263, sitting him up at third at the moment. Fantastic trial. So Bernard sends his dog out on the cast, pulls it up. Bernard all the way from Tasmania. Very experienced trialer, represented Australia on a number of occasions. And back to his best here at the Hypro Supreme Championship in Geelong, making the top 10. Tuz has arrived. The sheep are having a bit of a nibble, a bit of a graze. It's that time of the day where they'd be out having a bit of grass. So it's Tuz's job just to impress them that they should complete the course before they have a meal. Let's see what he's got. 3 heads down at the moment, looking okay. And Tuz arrives. Pretty even bunch. Just letting them wander a little bit off to Bernard's left. Straighten them up. Sitting at the top of the moment, Bill Davison with Grass Valley Flake. He's leading the way, still holding his position. Came in first place into the top 10 out of the top 20. And he's holding on at the moment. Still some big scores that could catch him, but they'll need to be good. I've got Bernard McGlashan out on the course at the moment. McGlashan's Taz. Then Paul O'Kane will come out. He's got Billabong Creek. And Mick Hudson will round it off with Rabbit, one of the Australian rep dogs. So we're starting to get to the pointy end of the contest. Some good scores already. Top 10. The Hypro Supreme here in Geelong. Tuz has worked them down pretty nicely, got them settled. He's got to bring them around behind that winding peg, the handler's post. We've got quite a few people watching now because the tension is high. This is the big one. Representatives from all over Australia congregate to compete for this championship. And we've got reps from all over the place, including New Zealand, in this top 10. It's Billy Davison leading the way. Bernard scored a 95 in his first round and has followed it up with a 77. So he's very capable of putting up a big score. And Tuz has just got them down nicely. Here's the first point of confrontation. He's got nice and close to them. They haven't bothered with him too much. They quite like him. And that's a good start. Around they go. Say to stay within that corridor. Little run on now, but Tuz is there, trying not to bump him across. Just pulls them up just in time. And Bernard strolls out of the post and away he goes. Just a little run on now. Got a head of steam up. Got away from him. They're on course, but they're ahead of the game, and they've got away from Bernard a little bit. He just asked Tuz to get up to the front and pull him up. Just opens the gate, lets them go again. They just had a little bit of a run on. When they get going at a bit of a rate of knots. So Bernard's just getting in front of him now. Just allow him to control it a little bit better. Here they go again. What's going to happen? Got a bit of a jog on that sheep. Yeah, pulled up nicely. Approaching that gap. It's breaking out to the left. Tuz is there trying to stop that. Step in now. Point them at the gap. That's a pretty sweet patch of grass that there. All the sheep have stopped to have a bit of a feed. They're not too happy to move off it, actually. And Tuz is saying, well, bad luck, mate. We've got to get a move on. We've got a trial to complete. So he steps in. In on their heads. Busily eating the daisies. One sheep's had a little look down the side. He's got to look through the gap. Oh, he's got close. Tuz has got very close. A bit of a challenge. Stomp of the feet. You're disturbing my lunch, that sheep says. He's not budging. He's staying on that patch. He's hungry. And Tuz is going to have to do something in a minute. That sheep's going to chase him if he gets a chance. Not much going on. They're really struggling to get him to move. Here we go. Heads are up. That sheep's coming towards Tuz. Oh, he's a stroppy sheep, that one. Oh, that's okay. He's got it done. Got him to leave it alone, and it just followed his mates. So, a bit of tension there at the gap. Could have got ugly, but saved the situation. Experience took the dog off the sheep that was giving him trouble. And just got the other two to go, and now he's following along pretty nicely. He doesn't want to be left behind. It's not like sheep to want to single. They don't like to single. They feel threatened if they're on their own. But that guy, yeah, he was pretty happy to take the dog on. So they're heading towards the race. Got him sitting nicely. Bernard's carrying him in his pocket. Just working towards that next obstacle as Bernard steps into the handler's circle. And Taz just got to negotiate these sheep. A little run on, little breakaway. And back the other way. So just stirring at the wrong time. Now they're better positioned. Turning out. It's right in the mouth. They're right there. They can see out. But they're not looking. We saw Tuz get challenged by that sheep earlier. And here's the pressure obs turning to look at him again. And he gave up and went through. Beautifully done. Just a bit of patience there paid off. And Bernard's away. A little breakaway on the far side. On course. Just got a bit of a head of steam up again. It's a bit of a pattern. They did it before and they ran, and now they're running again. as we head towards the bridge. Let's see what they can do. We've seen a couple of trials come unstuck here at the bridge. The sheep have just bucked up at the wrong time. Didn't like this dog pushing them and giving the dog a bit of a run around. And it's cost time mostly as they've messed around trying to get it over the bridge. Bernard's got there with a fair bit of time up his sleeve, so he can take his time. There's no panic or hurry. Let's see what he can do. He's got 2 and 1, and the one's going on its own. The other two have joined in. Good boy, Tuz. Covered them nicely. A little confrontation. Sheep steps forward. Wants to take him on. Flanking left and right, getting him to roll. Points him in the right direction, just on the edge there. Heads down again. Coming out to take him on. Oh, Taz had to just hold his ground. Not get upset. The sheep was coming at him. Oh, one's ducked around the side. So the bridge, again, has become a little bit of a sticking point. After being easy for most of the day, no trouble at all, they're just starting to buck up. You can see Taz is just struggling a little bit to get that sheep to turn off him. And while he's busy with that one, the other two are looking to get away. A bit better position now. They're right in front. Here we go. One's right on the ramp, looking up. And now they've all turned to look at Taz. They don't like to turn off him. And they're coming out at him. Taz steps forward. Steps forward again. Steps forward again, and out they come. Goodness. He just took a fraction too much pressure, and out they came. Burst like a bubble. And ran away, and he's got to do it all again. And one's going for a real run this time. Taz is there, catching him up, tucking him in. So time becomes an issue. He got there with a ton of time, but it's taken a ton of time, and the clock starts to tick down. Oh, and the dog is getting charged by the sheep. And they're not taking any nonsense, and he really needs to impress himself now. He's got to do it quickly, but they're just not playing. They're slipping around the side, and it's costing him a packet. And that sheep's running, making a run for it again. So we're down under a minute. He's going to struggle to get there. And that's unfortunate because Bernard was on a good run. But as we've seen so many times, it's not over until you shut the gate pen. Anything can happen. And these guys are just not going to play. So the countdown begins. And the sheep comes forward to take him on again. And Taz is just not handling it very well at the moment. He's struggling. And that sheep just won't take his eyes off him. He's doing everything in his power to get those sheep to move, and they just keep ducking around the side. So the clock's going to beat him. He's not going to complete. And the whistle goes. Bernard McGlashan with McGlashan's Tuz Not able to get over the bridge, unfortunately. Credit to him making the top 10 of our Supreme Hypro Championship. Paul O'Kane steps to the handler's post. Billabong Creek is his dog. And we'll call him Bill, I guess. So Paul O'Kane sends him out to the right-hand side, sweeping cast. Pulls up nicely behind the sheep. Already got a split. Not a good sign. Just tucks that one in. Puts them together and on they go. So we're down to the last two. Paul O'Kane from Victoria. Been a successful trialer as well. Represented Australia. Represented Victoria. Done very, very well over a long period of time. And Billabong Creek, his dog. Starting the process. Got him moving pretty nicely. The first confrontation occurs. Sheep pops his head up, sees the dog. Little challenge. What can she do? Can she move them? And just a little bit of introduction going on at the moment, getting the dog to go left and right and build little fences around the sheep. Not trying to overly impress them, just to say, okay, don't come this way, keep moving. Get on good terms. Hopefully it pays off, because we've seen the sheep buck up at times. Everything looks great, nice and smooth, then all of a sudden one of them goes, well, I'm not playing this game anymore. I've had enough of sheepdog trials, and goes for a run around. And that's a bit frustrating when you're watching it, and I bet you it's frustrating when you're driving it. Steps in and moves the sheep. A little touch in and then just arcs off. It's almost like a little push, but then takes the pressure off at the right time. And looking good at the moment. Paul O'Kane, Billabong Creek, the final, second last run in our top 10 Supreme Champions for Hypro. He had a first round score of 88. He followed that up with an 86.5, sitting currently on 174.5. The last few runs haven't changed things. Ben Miller put on a terrific 92 and pushed him up to third. Bill Davison still sitting out in front with Grass Valley Flake. So it's going to need a couple of really good scores to catch him. But the guys that can do it are the guys that are out there now. Paul O'Kane. Just feathering those sheep, trying to get them nice and settled and ready to go. So they've done the winding peg, they've gone around. Pulls away. A little confrontation. Just got to be aware not to leave him behind. Just gets the little dog to step in, get them moving. She's lightning fast. Busy little dog. Movement creates movement, they say, so certainly using movement to get the movement. Just flashing from one side to the other. And then taking the pressure off when they're walking nicely. And so far that's looking pretty good. First breakaway now. Not too bad, just off course. And that sheep's coming out to meet her. Quite been able to just put them back in. Just hanging out there on the left hand side of the corridor. Happily grazing. Not really that interested in the dog, and when the dog makes a move they walk towards it at the moment. Here we go, that's a little better. Turns them back on course. Try and straighten them up before they leave the other side. And then try and catch them again before they leave the other side. So they're weaving backwards and forwards. And we're stepping now. Paul's stepping now into that handler's circle. Getting them ready. For the first obstacle. There he goes, in position. Sheep are well set, good position. And now it just comes down to whether they can make an impression. Weaving backwards and forwards, stepping in. Little push. Through they go. Well done. Not too much trouble. Pretty straightforward. And they're away to the race. Sure, comes in, has a bite, it's got hold of it. Oh, what's going to happen here? That was a pretty big bite. And he's been disqualified, I think. Yes, that's unfortunate. The sheep were putting it to the dog. The dog decided, I've had enough of you, came in, had a grip, but the judges have said that was a little bit more than what they needed, and will ask you to leave. Paul O'Kane, unfortunately, won't add to his score. It looked like a pretty reasonable run coming in. Got him through the gap. And they were just leaning on the dog enough. So it all comes down to this. Mick Hudson with Rabbit stepping to the handler's post. The last of our top 10 to venture across the threshold and into the arena here at the Geelong Royal Showgrounds. Hypro Plus Supreme Championship. A Little Rabbit off to the left, casting wide. Mick Hudson, very successful sheepdog trialer from New South Wales. Won a lot of competitions over many years and set the standard in many ways. And this little dog here represented Australia already today in the Trans-Tasman Test against New Zealand. Had a good run. She's had a big rest. She's back fresh. And she's got those sheep moving already from quite a way. Going to need a pretty good score to pinch first place, but it's not out of Mick and Rabbit's grasp because these are a pretty good team. Have done very, very well over lots of years. Paula Kane with Billabong Creek, unfortunately, was disqualified. She just took offence at something the sheep did or said and decided to go in and snot it. And in the Supreme Course, like what we're running here today, is not permissible in most sheepdog trials. A nip's allowable, but a grip's not. So she was gripped out. And on the ground now, Mick Hudson, MGH Rabbit. First round scored 91. Followed that up with an 86.5. Sitting currently at 177.5. Our leader, Bill Davison, is on 268.5. He's finished for the day and he's sitting pretty at the top. So for Mick to step in and equal it, he'll need a 91 or a 92 to win. And so far, it's looking okay. He's pretty straight, pretty calm. Just challenging Rabbit a little bit. And she'll deal with it. She'll step in and deal with it. We just keep turning on her at the moment. And the white dogs often, and the sheep will have a look and wonder what they are. A lot of the lighter coloured dogs draw the sheep, but they also settle them, and they're running crazy merinos. Often need settling. These guys, they've got a bit of run in them, but they've also got a bit of fight in them. A couple of years old wethers. And they proved to be quite a challenge, especially with the conditions they've been worked in. The weather has been a factor. We've had hail, we've had rain, we've had thunderstorms and wind. And for a couple of days there, I was sure it was going to snow. But it's been so cold. But today, the sun's out a little bit. Wind's still around, not as big and as swirly as it was. But still little gusts. We've got a nice crowd of spectators today sitting in the sunshine enjoying this top 10 championship. The best of the best. So Rabbit's managed to get them down to the handler's post. She's got them pretty well set. They keep looking at her. They're not moving off her comfortably. We'll see if they have a little run when they wind behind Mick. But at the moment, he's just inching them forward. 15 minutes to complete the course. 100 points for the judges to deduct. And he's got to conserve every point. It's tight. It's tight at the top. And what a way to finish. So Rabbit just keeping them on course, right, rounding that peg. Beautifully done. Beautifully set. And Mick's away. Rabbit looks the goods at the moment. A little break out there just off to the left of where Mick's walking. So it's the 1 point. Brings them back on course. Now he's got to be aware he doesn't leave him behind. Breaking out the other side this time. Hasn't got a lot to play with. Needs to get them settled quickly and keep them on course. And they're having a little run now. After all that effort and Rabbit getting them down, they've just got a bit of a run on. They're broken back off the course again. So a point or two each time. Depending on what the dog does. She brings them straight back on course. Or if they go for a little wander. They've gone one side, then the other. She's just having a little trouble getting a grip on them. She's quick. She's anticipating well. And now she's got to just try and pop them through this gap without letting them run around it. That's the big points when they start doing laps around obstacles. That's when it's costing you a lot. And we saw that at the bridge earlier with Bernard Baglash, and they just put it to him. And not only did it take a lot of his points, it also took a heap of time and cost him the pen and the bridge. So we need that. Need things to go smoothly. And we're starting to get a little bit later in the day. Sheep are less inclined to play. Setting them up nicely. Hasn't got a particularly troublesome sheep at the moment. He's just got 3 that don't really want to stay on course. Rabbit steps in, has a little look away, takes the pressure off. Steps in again. And through they go. Well, that was nicely done. Wound them up pretty well. Gets them back on course and mix away. Heading towards the next obstacle, the race. Sitting right in the middle of that corridor, exactly where he'd want them. So he might have lost a couple of points up there, but it hasn't hurt him too much. Rabbit gets him moving again, just skirting the line. Oh, Judge following him up, he's right onto it. Pointing in the right direction. Rabbit steps in. Pretty good sheep at the moment. They're pretty even. They're just having little wanders. Not doing anything totally crazy like we saw in some of the other runs where one sheep was just a nightmare to work. These three are staying together nicely. No real horrible one. Have a little breakaway now. I just pivoted out of there and just headed off. And they've just got behind Mick. So that'll cost a couple as well. Rabbit brings them back around. See what happens. Point them in the right direction. Turn their heads. A little bit of speed was required. Steps in. Can he roll them through? What can he do? Got him set. In a great position. And through they go. Nicely done, Rabbit. Mick is having a good run so far. A couple of points here and there. Nothing too much. Nothing too big. He's away. Off to the bridge. Just hanging out on the right-hand side of the course. Rabbit's just got to keep him ticking over. She does that. Steps in again. A little bit of a run on. Rabbit's out there to catch the lead. Comes back the other way. Pulls him up nicely. As he steps forward. Stepping into that handler's circle. They're well set. Now here we go. This has been a test. These sheep look okay. They don't look too stressed. They haven't been challenging the dog. But the bridge has been the undoing of a couple of our top 10 trialers today. He's got them good, nicely positioned. One's had a look. He's taking his time. Rolls them around. They're well positioned. Heads in the right direction. And one's had a bit of a look up there. He's going to turn in or out. Rabbit takes a step in. They don't really care about the dog at the moment. They're right up. She's very close. Here we go. Maybe. A little bit of movement. One's on the ramp. Two. And that third one. She's got to get them over. That's all right. They're going up. They've got to get off. And they've just stopped up there for a second. Here she goes. Up, right up high. And gives them a push. Good work. So Rabbit doing a great job so far. Mick just holding his position. Just getting those sheep back in the corridor before he makes his move. We're down to the last run of our top 10. The Sheep just had a little breakaway. It's going to be tight. He's had a good run, but the points have come off. Not in their hundreds, but certainly there's been a few. Can he hold on? Having a little run around now. Still on course. Checks his clock. Catches him just in time. Steers him to the left, steers him to the right. Heading in the right direction. Rabbit's there again. A little breakaway. They're little one single point costs, and it's just what he doesn't need. He hasn't got a lot to play with. Well, he's going to need this pen. He's going to need it clean without too much mucking around. And they just look a little stirred up at the moment. It all comes down to this. The last run of the top 10 for the Hypro Supreme Championship. Can Mick Hudson pinch it? Or will Billy Davison hold on? He's lined them up. They're ready to go. They're perfectly positioned. Rabbit's got them. In they go. The last run of the top 10. Mick Hudson. MGH Rabbit gets the gate shut. What a fantastic run. We'll wait on the score. It's going to be tight.
Hypro Premium, the best dog food I've come across. You can tell by the gleam in their eyes and the colour of the coat, and especially the stamina they have for work on the farm. And they'll love it.
Hypro, that's the go.
Well, there we have it. Mick Hudson getting the gate shut in his final run. He needed a 91 to pinch the championship. Came in with an 86 out of 100. Mick Hudson with a total of 263.5, finishing third. Our winner, Bill Davison, Grass Valley Flake, scored a 268.5 and putting him in first place. Runner-up, Paul Darmody with Marlin. Mick Hudson with Rabbit third. Terrific final, terrific top 10. We've enjoyed telling you about it. I hope you've enjoyed listening. And that concludes our broadcast of the Geelong 2024 Supreme Championship for Hypro.